Good morning, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you to Albany County's first annual Summit on Aging. I am George Brown. I am the Commissioner of Aging. We have a great turnout this morning of our providers, a fantastic turnout of our elected officials, and some other officials that are important to the aging with us today.
And I had the opportunity before the event started to spend a little bit of time talking to County Executive McCoy. And I have to say, I felt like I was talking to an aging provider. It's not enough for constituents to give information, to share information and say, this is what we need. We have to have people who are in decision-making positions to listen to those needs and to understand what that means and how do you translate that back into services. And I have to say, County Executive McCoy certainly does get that. So I appreciate the opportunity to have worked with him today with the summit and to be here to listen to all of you.
Laura Cameron, Executive Director of the Association on Aging in New York. In case you don't know who we are, we do represent the 59 local offices for aging throughout New York State. And of course, that does include Commissioner George Brown and the Department for the Aging right here in Albany. Our mission as an association is simple yet profound. We help older New Yorkers age with independence and dignity.
One thing I realized going around this county, visiting every senior center and talking to seniors in general, was in different providers, is the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. And we had duplication of services. Some agencies do a better job than others. I hate to tell you that. Same thing with the county. I like to tell you we provide the best services, but there's people out in this audience that can do a better job than we are. And we're not afraid to admit it, because at the end of the day, it's about taking care of that senior. That's the most important thing, making sure they get the services that they're entitled to or need. Let us help you, but you have to help us first and foremost, because you have to let us know what's working. You know, you see reports, you see stats, but does a piece of paper really tell you at the end of the day what's touching some senior's life? What's the quality that they're getting or hearing back from the people that are getting the services? You know, it's just a glimpse. But to make it work and go forward with our population, we're living longer, we're living healthier, quality of life's getting better. So I look forward to doing more of these meetings. You have better experts up here than myself that will talk about it, and especially in front of me. But thank you for coming, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Now is the time that you are going to have the opportunity to ask questions or to speak.
I'll touch on a lot of things. I'll help the dais a little bit here. I'm the Director of Marketing, CTA. I work with a bunch of you in the room already, and for those of you that don't, looking forward to the opportunity. CDTA took over brokerage a couple of years ago, and from what I've heard in the past is that the funding scenario that was touched on very earlier by Tom and some of the other people in the dais has changed over the last few years. So, there's been a lot of change. I think the quality and the level of services and the breadth of services, I think, is one of the bigger changes. A lot of your constituent groups were used to going to the mall, going to the salon, going to other places, which really, as the population explodes and the ability of the not-for-profit providers to be able to provide as many trips on the funding package that comes, made it a little trickier.
We're offering a variety of classes, but we had a lot of seniors interested in donating money. But that's a really good point of stepping it up and having a senior program out there. We have the trades that are going out there. We're putting the pavilion up, we're putting a new playground set in, and this is all partnership with free money, working with companies saying, hey, look, we have a worthy cause. We want you to step up and donate some money. We have about 4 Eagle Scouts doing different projects out there, and we're looking at doing a house. We have a caretaker's house out there that we're talking about turning into a museum, or we can make it a rec center for seniors. So that's an excellent point. As I go through the community, and that's call on CDTA again, Altamont just built new seniors housing. And the biggest complaint, how do I get there? If you go up Wayville Road, Amarillo just built all these townhouses up there. Well, people are going there because it's convenient on the bus line. But people want to stay in Altamont. They want to stay in the hill towns where these senior houses are, because you said it correctly. They want to stay in their community.
One issue that I do have, not being someone from this field, is when I call for help, I play phone tag. I mean, I can spend days trying to get an answer for a senior. And no offense to anyone, but If we want to keep people in their homes, we need to find a place that when I've got a senior calling in saying it's raining and the water's pouring in my kitchen, I need to get some help for him.
But there is a number that anybody, any senior can call, 447-7177, and there will be somebody on the other end of the line, not a tape recording, as long as they're getting us during the regular hours, and they should be able to get directions as to if they have a problem, where they can go. And I can assure you, we're good at what we do with this program right now, and in the very near future, we're going to get better.
We also have a consumer clinic that Susan's doing. That's going to be twice a month. So people can come if they're having consumer issues. They don't know what to do. They can't pay their bills. Is somebody going to take their Social Security? Is somebody going to put them in jail? That's what we hear all the time. So we're there for people.
Every grant that we get comes through the State Office of the Aging, okay? Be it a federal grant or be it a state grant, whether there's a match to it or not, the county puts their match to that, to put that out there for everybody. So when you enter into a deal with me, you're entering into a deal with the County of Albany by the grace of the funding from the state or federal level, and in most instances, some of these programs by the graces of additional funding that the county puts into our budget. And the County of Albany, Dan and the county legislators support some of our programs by approving our budgets over and above the matches that we need for these grants. So, I mean, if you're dealing with us, you're dealing with us through the contractual obligations, but we also have obligations using someone else's money that we have rules and regulations that we have to follow.
The purpose of it is to break down the silos. And having worked at the local level, I know all the invisible lines that we run up against, and it makes it more difficult to provide services. When I first started at the state, I kept telling individuals at the state level, focus on services, not money. And then let's talk about how do we make sure those services get provided, whether it's Title 19, which is Medicaid dollars, Title 20 dollars, which is Adult Protective Services, aging dollars, both at the state, and 3E dollars at the federal level. And how do we use the resources that we have to provide the services? Don't think about the money, think about the services.
I'm also going to, in my remarks, refer back to what Monica Beckman was saying, because it relates. When she talked about making an effort to meet with people, I can personally say that because she actually called my office. And even though we're not a local service provider in Albany, she recognized us as a state association that might be important to connect with. So just over a year ago, I went to her office and we met and we talked about a lot of things. And I think to her remark about how do you really collaborate, it's by putting yourself out there. And clearly she did do that, and that resonated with me. So circling back to our statewide effort for community services for the elderly, this wholly relates, which is for many years our association advocated our own selves for what our area agencies on aging felt were important. There are a lot of other statewide aging organizations out there. And we had been working with them over the years on a variety of projects. And we, this past year, talked informally with several different organizations and said, why don't we all come together and say the same thing? Which we've been doing, but not in a formal sense. So what we did was we put our logos all in the same document. And that really made us all speak with one voice. And that makes a huge difference.
If we're talking a 40-hour week, it's been my experience, even in my own case, that everything happens after it closes, usually on a Friday evening. And you've got to wait all the way through the weekend to the following time period when you can maybe get someone on a phone.
It's really just reiterating what was said, that aging services are not an emergency response system. So you wouldn't be able to use that system for emergencies, but there's other systems that the senior can tap into. So if it was a heating emergency, social services could come out on the weekend or after hours.
We also have 211 in this area too that you can contact for emergency after.
What you're talking about is an age-old problem. It's been a problem for a long time, and it should be addressed. And it's not something that has to be addressed necessarily on the county or state level, possibly federal funding to provide services on the weekends, because what you're saying is true. If somebody has something that is an emergency, emergencies don't wait for, they don't take the weekend off. Call the county executive's office. We will try as hard as we possibly can to get the services that you need. And if we can't, then we'll tell you why we can't and give you some alternatives. Just make sure that it's something that is an emergency.
My biggest concern is the workforce issue. There are not the home health aides. We have some providers here from home care agencies. There is not the workforce to support keeping seniors in the community. I want to make that really clear, is that we have to, pay these folks a decent wage so that they will be committed to their job and committed to their clients and keep our seniors in the community.
I heard the piece about empowering seniors. That's a lot of what we're about, and that's a lot what we did in January. The empowerment of seniors to volunteer and to get involved will keep them from being isolated, will keep them healthier. The county would be very helpful to support that innovation with a coordinator. We need to bring these things together so that seniors are aware of different opportunities to meet and to volunteer.
And as Chris opened up the conversation about supporting caregivers, I think caregivers and funding caregiver programs is the critical piece to keeping people in their homes and aging in place where they want to be.
Why aren't people in the city of Albany rising to their own obligations? You can't just say, well, Albany will take care of it, the county takes care of it. Without all the services you communities provide, we'd all be bankrupt. But I think you all need to point your fingers. I adore Kathy Sheehan, I think she's going to be superb, but everybody in the city of Albany government needs to understand they have an obligation, because most of the seniors who need help, where do they live? We're not abandoning them in the county offices for aging, but we can't afford to abandon these lovely projects in the smaller towns at the expense, because people in Albany City need it more.
We're committed to protecting our seniors, but other communities do need to step up and say, hey, look, you have great programs, but you need to put some money towards seniors and be a partner with Albany County, and that's what we've said to the city. We need a partnership, because we can't come in and pay for everything. You gotta have skin in the game. The only way a program will work if people have skin in the game, because now they have an interest. And that's what we need, the commitment out of the city and the common council.